When we talk about money, most people immediately think big. They imagine $1 million in the bank, a dream house, luxury cars, a life that feels far from reach. And because of this, whenever someone mentions saving $10,000, it often sounds insignificant, almost like nothing compared to the grand dreams people like to project. But this is one of the biggest mistakes in personal finance, because the first $10,000 is not small at all. In fact, it is one of the most powerful and important achievements you can reach. And the reason is simple. It is not about what you can buy with it. It is about the discipline, the mentality, and the proof that you can actually build something consistent, that you can resist the temptations that ruin most people, and that you can lay the foundation for everything that comes after. Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing and mentor of Warren Buffett, used to say that the key to success in investing is temperament, not intelligence. And what he meant is that almost anyone can learn the technical side of investing, but very few can control their own impulses, their fear when markets fall, their desire to spend when everyone else is upgrading their lifestyle, their impatience when growth feels slow. And that is why the beginning is the steepest climb of all, because it demands that you fight your emotions every single day. Morgan Housel in The Psychology of Money emphasizes that finance is never just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It is mostly about behavior. And this becomes crystal clear in the early stages of saving. Because if you put aside $500 a month into safe investments, the first year feels painfully slow. You check your account and see that the number is growing, but at a pace that feels invisible. You sacrifice. You cut expenses. You hold yourself back. And yet the reward seems microscopic. And it is in this stage that most people quit. They abandon the journey right before compounding reveals its power. Compounding is like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first it is small and heavy. You push and wonder if anything is happening at all. But with every turn it collects a little more, and eventually it is big enough that momentum takes over. The snowball rolls on its own, and suddenly it becomes unstoppable. $10,000 is exactly that point. The moment when your financial snowball has enough weight to keep rolling. It is not the end of the road, but it is the moment where the laws of compounding begin to feel real. And once you experience that, you never see money the same way again. Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad Poor Dad often said that the amount you save at the beginning matters less than the act of saving itself. Because the act changes your identity. It transforms you from a consumer into an investor. And that is exactly what $10,000 represents. Not freedom, not luxury, but transformation. When you reach this milestone, you realize something profound. That money is not only numbers, but psychology. That it represents the ability to say no, to resist lifestyle inflation, to avoid debt, to ignore the constant voices around you telling you to spend now and worry later. With $10,000 saved, you prove to yourself that you can delay gratification, that you can look at the long horizon instead of the next weekend, that you are capable of building and not only consuming. And more than that, it gives you a type of freedom that goes beyond money itself. Without savings, life feels fragile. One emergency is enough to destroy your stability. One job loss is enough to throw you into panic. But with $10,000, the picture is different. You have air in your lungs. You can breathe. You can sleep at night knowing you have time. You have choices. You have power. This is what I call emotional freedom. And emotional freedom is the key to staying patient. Because patience is the rarest currency in investing. Benjamin Graham also created the image of Mr. Market, the neighbor who comes to your door every day offering random prices for the same asset, sometimes ridiculously high, sometimes depressingly low. And if you are broke, you are his prisoner. You are forced to follow his mood swings, to sell in fear, to buy in greed. But with a base even as modest as $10,000, you finally have the strength to ignore him. You no longer depend on his moods to survive. You can wait. You can think. You can act rationally. And that calmness is what separates investors who last from those who burn out. Now imagine you are that person investing $500 every month. It might take almost 2 years to hit $10,000. And during that time, it feels like climbing a mountain step by step, slow and exhausting. But once you reach the top of that ridge, you see the landscape differently. because your money itself begins to generate around $100 a month without you lifting a finger. And while $100 is not a fortune, it is a signal that your money is alive, that your snowball has weight, that you are no longer walking alone, because now your money is walking with you. Charlie Munger, Buffett's partner, repeated throughout his life that the big secret to wealth is to sit quietly and let compounding do the heavy lifting. But the truth is that most people never sit long enough to experience it. They give up at 2,000, at 5,000, at 8,000, always quitting right before the breakthrough. And that is why 10,000 is such a powerful mark, because it is the barrier most people never cross. It is the wall that filters the impatient from the disciplined. Once you cross that line, the next goals come faster. 50,000, 100,000, they seem distant at first, but the acceleration is real, because the same contributions that once felt tiny are now amplified by the base you already built. And when you finally reach 100,000, the game changes completely. The returns alone can equal what you used to save in an entire year. The snowball now moves with a force that surprises even you. And it all started with that small, modest, underestimated 10,000. This is why dismissing it is such a mistake. Because while the world may laugh and say 10,000 is nothing compared to 1,000,000, you will know the truth, that the first 10,000 is not about wealth, but about identity. It is about becoming the kind of person who can reach 1,000,000, because without that transformation you never will. So celebrate it, respect it, do not let anyone convince you it is small. Because if you have saved $10,000, you have already done what most people never will. You have resisted the trap of consumerism. You have chosen to build instead of spend. You have built discipline, patience, and strength, and those qualities are the real foundation of wealth. From here, the rest is time and consistency. The snowball is already rolling. The mountain that once looked impossible is already behind you. The marathon that looked endless is already underway. And if you keep running, you will discover that every mile becomes easier than the one before. Compound interest is relentless. It rewards those who endure. It punishes those who quit. And one day, without you even noticing, your money will be working harder for you than you ever worked for it. And when that day arrives, you will look back and realize that everything began with that first 10,000, the milestone that looked so small, but in truth was the beginning of everything. And if this message spoke to you, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next lessons.